You already know that in one's human, acid is super important and it's used to make some stuff like ingots, wims, and much more. But getting the acid can be tough. That's where the acid farms come in. Now, I've already made a few videos about that, but since the latest update, the devs have changed how things work in the game. And due to that, the acid production has increased tremendously. So in this guide, I will show you how to build the best acid farm and make shit ton of acid. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, this guide will help you play one's human more efficiently and have a lot more fun. So let's get started. For this, you already know that you need a polluted area or location, but finding the perfect spot can be a little challenging. Why I say that is because for 3 seasons, I've seen that most people on any given server stay in World 1. And if you also stay in World 1, then it's going to be extremely crowded. Once that happens, then you know you won't get the spot you're looking for. Also, most of the spots are not available until second phase of the season unlocks. So, as soon as the new second phase unlocks, which is the second week, then you need to rush to your desired polluted location and move your base there. Veteran players might know what I'm talking about. So, as you all know that acid farms work best in a polluted area and you've found the perfect spot for you, then you just need to start building the acid farm. But before we get into building the actual farm, let me show you some more ways to farm acid. If you just want to watch the acid passive production farm, then you can skip the video to that part. However, in phase 1 of any season, these are some of the ways that you can get acid easily. Number 1. Defeating deviants or monsters and getting acid from them. It's a bit taxing, but you can still get about 300 to 400 acid in 15, 20 or 30 minutes. Now, you can increase the number of acid dropped from any deviant or monster by 1 food buff, and that is Deviated chops. This buff works for 30 minutes and the deviants drop 50% more acid. To make Deviated chops, you need intermediate electric stove. You won't be able to make it on the primary stove, and the intermediate stove is available to unlock in the mimetic screen from first phase of the season itself. Then you will need 3 ingredients to make this recipe: any kind of meat, peppercorn, and salt. Now remember, do not make these in bulk because they become spoiled after 24 hours, so that would be a waste. To get these ingredients, you just need to grow the peppercorn, which grows in about 4 hours. For salt, you just need to go to any beach on the map and start collecting seawater. And after you're done, get back to your base, boil the seawater on the kitchen set to make salt, which by the way gives you a lot of XP also. And for meat, you know how to hunt, no question in that. Then, next way to farm acid is fairly easy and it works even better when you have deviated chops. Just consume the preserved deviated chops, go to any refinery and start the purification process, by which you will defeat a lot of monsters and they will drop a shit ton of acid. And to be precise, if you use level 4 extraction card, you'll get about 6 to 700 acid in about 5 to 6 runs. Now, I know that you won't get level 4 cards in the first phase of the season itself, but you can use any card and that would also make a lot of difference. To get these cards, you just need to complete the Rift Anchor locations where you kill high level enemies who drop these cards. Or you can get these cards from storage crates also. Every Refinery Purification run is for about 5 minutes each. So basically in the end, you'll get to shoot the shit out of deviants and you'll get some extra rewards as well. So these are the few ways to farm acid in the game with the use of your weapons. However, there's a few more ways that you can get acid from, but some of them take a little longer to produce acid slowly, from which one of them requires sulfur ore, energy links, and a synthesis bench. For this, you need a mimetic specialization which is called Sulfur Chemist. Now what this does is it gives you the ability to use your energy links, which is the in-game currency, and sulfur ore to make acid in 8 hours. For this, what you can do is put these materials and start the acid making process on the synthesis bench and just log off the game or go about your business, and after 8 hours you'll get 198 acid. Now I know it sounds like it's a very less amount of acid and a slow process, but you can set up 3 to 4 benches and directly connect them to electric generators and dedicate those generators to these benches. Now the advanced benches process 2 slots at one time, and the remaining 3 processing slots do not start until the first 2 are done. So if you have 4 benches set up, then after 8 hours, you'll get 396 acid. And the next 2 slots will start processing acid when the first 2 will be done. So this is another way that I used to make acid and sold about 5k acid in my vending machine for 80 energy links per acid, which gave me 400,000 energy links, and that is not bad at all. Now, to make 99 acid, it takes 4,950 energy links and 495 sulfur ore, meaning making 1 acid will cost you 50 energy links and 5 sulfur ores. After this process, there's another mimetic specialization which is called Art of Stardust Decay. In this process, you can use your electric furnace to craft acid from stardust source, which simply means Art of Stardust Decay process consumes 4 stardust source to craft 1 acid. And if you want to craft 99 acid, it consumes 396 stardust source, which takes about 39 minutes to complete. And if you fill all the 5 slots of the furnace and you have the flame essence frog on them, then the time reduces significantly. The reason I'm not being precise about this one is because personally I do not want to use my stardust source to make acid, because when you make tier 5 weapons and calibrate them, and you make tier 5 gear and calibrate them, you need that initial stardust source. And if you have different gear like me, like I have unstable bomber for which I use the shaman vulture top, with that a lot of other stuff requires stardust source to craft. And let's be honest, during the first 2 phases of the season, you do not want to use that initial stardust source that you want to make acid, because eventually you will need a lot of it for crafting different other materials. Alright, after this, there's another way you can make acid without killing any monsters or without any mimetic specialization, and that is contaminated crops. So, when you are in a polluted area, you might see these contaminated berries, aloe vera, and wheat. And whenever you see them, just harvest them. And if you keep looking for these in any polluted area, then you will find at least 10 of each every 5 minutes. They respawn like every 5 minutes or so. I know this one is a bit taxing as well, just like mining ores and stuff, but when you gather these crops, you get contaminated seeds. If you have gardening gloves and harvesting sickle in your inventory, while gathering these contaminated crops, you get some more of these and some extra seeds as well. Now, when you have enough of these seeds, you just need to grow them without any light in your farm, because these require only water and no light at all. You can also use yield boost fertilizer or breeding boost fertilizer to grow them. That way, yield boost will give you more of these contaminated plants, and breeding boost will give you more seeds so that you can grow more of these. Now, these takes 12 hours to completely grow. Once you have enough of these harvested plants, you can put them in the barrels with the purified water, and these will start making acid for you. The time on this is every 20 minutes, 1 slot of 1 barrel makes 1 acid. And there's a difference between every substance that you use, meaning if you use impure acid, then 10 impure acid will make 1 acid every 20 minutes. 3 contaminated wheat will make 1 acid. 3 contaminated berries will make 1 acid. And 2 contaminated aloe vera will make 1 acid every 20 minutes. That way, if you fill all the slots in the barrel, then every 20 minutes you will get 4 acid. And you just need to maintain the contaminated stuff or impure acid input every 3 to 4 hours, depending on the amount of substances that you've filled. I hope that makes sense. So, as far as these contaminated plants are concerned, you need half the amount of these in comparison with impure acid to make about the same amount of acid. Alright. That is all the different ways that you can manually or automatically farm some acid in the game, but the most effective way to farm acid is the proper acid farm, which almost everyone wants to do, and once it is set up, it's way easier to operate and manage. So first things first, you need to put down some generators, as many as you can or as many as the build allows you. Then put down some pumps, connect and dedicate them to some generators so that all the power goes to these pumps 24/7, and later the power can be shared with water purifiers and barrels. If you want, you can throw in some switches down for other appliances that you do not want running 24/7, and that way you can conserve some energy. Or you can daisy chain all the generators to one another, and that way you can get all the power to the pumps that pull out polluted water with purifiers and barrels running. For my acid farm, I have had the privilege to get help from one of my friends, Ryan.
Produces 4 polluted water every 5 minutes. Obviously, you have to explain about elevating the water tank, yeah, at the back for it to flow properly.
He built the whole farm where he put down 25 water pumps, which then he first connected directly to some water tanks. Now, this is a very important step for the first couple of days. The reason behind that is because you fill the water tanks with a lot of polluted water, or at least 6K polluted water. I'll let you know in a bit why 6K polluted water is needed. Initially, after a couple of days, you can introduce osmosis purifiers and more water tank connections. That way, purifiers will start making impure acid, and the impure acid can be automatically transferred to these water tanks, which later can be used to fill the barrels, and the process of making acid can be started. Now wait. Before you go and start doing the exact thing I just said, I want to share some real good insights with you that my friend Ryan shared with me. So I'll start from the beginning. When you put down some water pumps to pull polluted water, connect them directly to the water tanks in order to collect at least 6K polluted water for the first initial 12 hours of the build. Do not connect the purifiers. Once all the water tanks have at least 6K polluted water, then you have to be creative here, or just copy Ryan's method to build the perfect acid farm. By that, what I mean is you have to count everything and every step of the process to get the best results. Because after a lot of trial and error, Ryan came up with this brilliant acid farm and a lot of things in the game, because Ryan studies the game and learns the mechanics of any game so that he and his friends can enjoy it. Shout out to Ryan and Ellie from Taco. So, after you've collected 6K acid from every water pump, connect them to the osmosis machines so that the polluted water can travel to the machines automatically and the process of making impure acid can start. Now, the reason we want 6K polluted water is because before, all the tanks and osmosis machines had 100 capacity on every slot, and now after the update, one single slot capacity is 1000. So now one osmosis machine can hold 4K polluted water instead of 400, or dirty water or seawater, which processes these to purified water or impure acid every 1 minute. So if you have extra 2K water sitting in the tanks, then you can just forget about the osmosis machines and enjoy your game. The extra 2K polluted water will be maintained by the pumps, and the osmosis machines will maintain the 4K polluted water mark in them, which simply means that you do not have to keep looking at your osmosis machines or your farm every now and then. Whenever you log into the game, just check your acid farm, do what needs to be done, and play the game for the rest of your session. You don't have to worry about the farm once you took a little peek into it. Now, there's two ways to set up the pumps. One is to elevate the water pumps as high as possible so that the in-game gravity does its job and fills the water tanks fast. Or you can put the pumps close to the ground and connect a smaller water pump which uses 1 watt power to pull the water. For that, you will have to keep everything close to each other, meaning the pumps, the tanks, the water purifiers, the tanks, and the barrels. Everything should be close to each other. Because if the distance between the pumps and the tanks or the purifiers is long, then the water will travel slower and the storage will fill up slowly. But if you keep everything real close to each other, then the process will be even faster and all the water will be filled up quickly, and you'll start seeing a lot of it within like a few hours. Now, after this, when you have a surplus amount of impure acid, then you can start making 1 barrel or 2 barrels and connect them to the power source or osmosis purifiers directly and start filling them with impure acid and pure water. Now at this stage, you need to be very careful about impure acid input and pure water input. What I mean by that is, in every barrel, every slot should be completely full with impure acid and pure water. Once you see the impure acid go below 600 mark, in every slot, keep refilling all those slots. Later, within a couple of more days, you will start accumulating sufficient impure acid so that you can start building more barrels and filling them up. That way, within 4 to 5 days, you should have built 5 barrels like me, and you should start getting a lot of acid from these too. So, within the first 24 hours of the build, you need 1 barrel. Then, within the next couple of days, you will have to make another barrel, and then you can make more after a few more days. That way, your acid production will increase and you can sell it, use it, share it within your hive, do whatever you want with it. Now, most of you would have this concern or question that why don't I start from the first day of building the farm itself? The reason behind that is numbers. When you start the whole process of making acid from day one, then you might see the polluted water quantity is reduced and the slots in the purifiers do not fill completely, and impure acid produced will be only from one slot of the purifier. But if you use all the available slots in the purifier to make impure acid, then the amount of impure acid produced will be 4 every minute instead of 1 impure acid every minute. So in 12 hours, you will have collected 2,880 impure acid. Let's look at it this way. I'll try my best not to make it confusing. So one water pump pulls out 4 polluted water every 5 minutes. That means one pump will make 576 polluted water every 12 hours. If you have 9 pumps, they will pull 5,184 polluted water every 12 hours. Now, if you set up 18 pumps, the amount is doubled, meaning the polluted water in 12 hours will be 10,368. Hope that's clear up till now. So, after 12 hours, you will have 10,368 polluted water, which then will be transferred to all the 4 slots of 2 osmosis machines. So that will be 8K polluted water in both of them. Now, the osmosis machines, one slot consumes 2 polluted water to make 1 impure acid. And all the 4 slots in the osmosis machines consume 2 into 4, 8 polluted water to make 4 impure acid every 1 minute. I hope this clears up all the doubts you have and it makes sense. If not, please comment down below so that we can discuss this and there is no confusion. Now, every hour, these osmosis machines make 240 impure acid, meaning in 12 hours, one purifier will produce 2,880 impure acid and 2 machines will make double that, 5,760 impure acid every 12 hours. So the next day or after 12 hours, when you relog in the game, you will have collected 5,760 impure acid from the purifiers. Then you will need, for now, just 1 barrel to start making acid. Now let's look at how much acid the barrels make. So, like I said before, that these barrels consume 10 impure acid to make 1 acid every 20 minutes. And if you fill all the 4 slots of the barrel with 4K impure acid, then it will make 4 acid every 20 minutes. So in 1 hour, you will collect 12 acid every 1 hour from 1 barrel. If all the slots of the barrel are filled with impure acid, in 12 hours, you will have 144 acid in 1 barrel. In 24 hours, you will have double that, which is 288 acid from 1 barrel. In a couple of more days, you will have collected 20K impure acid from the purifiers. Then you can introduce 1 or 2 more barrels in the farm, and that way you will be able to double that amount of acid produced. So, if you do not start the impure acid making process for 24 hours, you will have collected more than sufficient amount of polluted water. And in another 24 hours, you will have collected the sufficient amount of impure acid for making acid. In case you do not follow this procedure and start every process from day 1, then you will not be able to get these numbers. You will get less of everything. So I would say patience is key here. In just 3 days, you will start the acid making process, and in the next 3, you will have enough acid to smelt tungsten, aluminium, and you will be able to make sufficient amount of activators, WIMs, and whatever else needs acid to make. I hope all these calculations are easy and understandable for you. In case it gets confusing, let me know in the comments down below so that we can have a chat and clear all the confusion that you have. If you like this video, share this with your fellow metas and like the video. Also, do not forget to subscribe to Madcap Manish for more videos just like this one. Bye!